Hi, my name is Erik Bohlin, and I'm here today to talk about recovery. I'm not an expert. I am a professional counselor, but even then I'm not an expert. The experts are the people that went before me who really understood addiction, the pioneers in Alcoholics Anonymous. And so today I'm just going to read what I think is really important passages to understand, and maybe I'll give a little bit of a personal experience or strength, hope that I've received from these steps and how it can help you. To begin to talk about this, I'd like to talk about this book, Alcoholics Anonymous. I am not speaking for Alcoholics Anonymous. I am just hopefully humbly bringing this message to you in certain sections that I think are really vital, not only as a person who has recovery in many different addictions, but also as a person who's a professional that works with people every day, and I'm constantly referring to this book so to make it easier for people to find the sections I'll be talking from this book. You can get this book online. There's a PDF version you can find, but I'd really highly recommend just getting an AA book. There's smaller sizes, which is okay, but you're going to find that you may want to write in it. Really useful to be able to interact with it in such a way with a pen here. I just take my trusty pen and we just go at it. To begin with, the beginning section, I would say let's go to the preface. The preface at the very beginning, when this book was written, I'll read certain sections that, actually it's the foreword. The foreword to the first edition. We of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. To show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. So if you're ever wondering what the main purpose of the book is, it's to show precisely how we have recovered. Notice the word recovered. It's not recovery or recovering. I'm not meaning to be critical, but I think somewhere over time people began to move away from the steps and they found themselves relapsing a lot, maybe constantly relapsing, but still going to meetings. So they had to come up with a term that sounded more of what their experience was. The reality is, in the early days of AA, people recovered. They were recovered alcoholic in about step 9, and they probably got through the steps in about 2 weeks, if not shorter. I know this may come as a surprise to many, but just go back and look at the AA history. There's about 12 historians that have data, in fact voluminous amounts of data that point to this, and it's right in this book. Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. Now that's not meant to be a slam against alcoholics, it's just that we see this as a disease. We see that this is not just a mild disease, something that has so infiltrated one's life that it affects all areas. It's affected their body, their relationships with others, often their pocketbook, finances are affected, their thinking, their mental capacities are diminished. They're not thinking clearly. Not only is that from the alcohol or drugs or even other addictions like spending and gambling. One on the outside may go, why would a person continue to do this when it's so harmful? Because addiction affects everything. It affects one's relationship with the closest people around them. When you have an addiction, whether it be alcohol, drugs, food, spending, compulsive sexuality, gambling, or maybe even work, you end up making that your higher power. It's a power greater than you that's running your life. Yes, you may not feel like it is, but it really is. And if you stand back and look at it, if you get spiritual enlightenment to be able to see what's going on. And that's maybe what we call coming out of denial. But this book is designed to help us figure out what the recipe is. It's not meant to give us a whole bunch of good information that's going to then sit in our minds or sit on the shelf or something we can repeat at meetings or just memorize. Really, that would be like me memorizing the recipe for a cake. What's the point in that? The whole purpose for a cookbook is to know how to cook. And so if you follow precisely what's in this book, you will recover, I'd say, about 75 to 90% of the time. That's my experience. If you deviate from some of the ingredients, decide to kind of make it up yourself, well, I can't guarantee where you'll end up, but I can say you're probably not going to end up being sober. So, really important to understand this, but we can only, through trial and error, begin to understand this. The only requirement for a membership in any 12-step group is an honest desire to stop drinking, or to stop lusting in the case of Sexaholics Anonymous, or to stop compulsive overeating or undereating in Overeaters Anonymous, or overspending or compulsive debting, or compulsive underearning in Debtors Anonymous, or compulsive work or work avoidance in Workaholics Anonymous, or an honest desire to be sober and abstain from drugs. As you see, I'll be talking about multiple addictions throughout this because it's really easy to switch from one addiction to the other. I would say the best thing to do is figure out, through God's grace, through your own best interests in mind, what is the addiction that's going to kill you the first? What is causing you the most problem? Start with that. Maybe there are addictions that are so intertwined, like sexual addiction and amphetamines, that you really can't separate the two, and you may need to recover from both of those, or spending and gambling. But things like overeating, yeah, it's really important to recover from that, but it may not be the first thing that kills you. It says we simply wish to be helpful to those who are afflicted. So that's the foreword here to the first edition.